All right, what's going on, guys? This Simple Sports back with another episode. I know it's been a while, but I have purposely held off, and I'm going to explain why. But let's recap. So today is the 9th of October. We have the Monday night game tonight, which is going to be irrelevant to this particular conversation because I want to talk about Sunday and last week a little bit, but Sunday. It's gonna be a shorter video because I'm about to vent, and I don't want to talk about the games in particular. I want to talk about the sport as a whole. Okay. So let me start off by saying I was greatly disappointed yesterday by my Titans, but not just the Titans. I was disappointed in the NFL as a whole, and here's why. Yesterday there were about 6 or 7 games or so that were just flat out unwatchable. And unwatchable due to poor quarterback play in particular. For example, in the Titans game, that game was pretty much unwatchable. Jay Cutler threw for 92 yards, and they won. Blake Bortles against the Steelers threw for like 95 yards, and they won. So hold on a minute. Now listen. You don't have to be Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady or Drew Brees and put up 400 yards in a game and 4 touchdowns and no picks and go, 30 for 36 from you don't have to do that. But you can't throw for under 100 yards. I don't even know how often that ever even happens. First of all, how often it happens that a starting quarterback who plays the entire game, not due to injury, but a quarterback that plays the entire game, how often is it that they throw for under 100 yards? My guess is very, very, very rarely, okay? And even more than that, or I should say, I guess technically less than that, how many of those quarterbacks actually win those games? I'd venture to say very, very, very few. I'm pretty confident in saying that. Running the ball is a different story. I can see a team, especially these days, running for, say, 50 yards or 20 yards and still winning because they have a potent passing offense. Take, the Pats. The Pats may run 9 times in a game and beat you by 30. That's just the way they've been for the last couple of years. But, man, I have to tell you, I watched some pretty piss-poor football yesterday. And I want to start with the Titans and Dolphins. And let me start by saying this. Someone needs to sign Colin Kaepernick. And not just Kaepernick. They need to sign a competent quarterback. It has become apparent to me that I've always known, obviously everyone knows that they're all about business and money and the bottom line, which is money, the bottom dollar. But, man, there was some pretty poor quarterback play yesterday. And I have to say, as a Titans fan, I was pretty disappointed. The Dolphins are a dumpster fire, and we lost to them because we simply couldn't move the ball in the air. And we couldn't run the ball because they had zero fear of Matt Castle, which who would? Why would you have any fear of that guy? He's not an elite quarterback. He's not even a starting quarterback. He is barely a backup. And, what's awful about it is, as a Titans fan, I actually had to sit there, and it finally dawned on me. These organizations, I always like to think, especially the smaller organizations, the Spurs of the world and the Titans of the world, the Packers, the Memphis Grizzlies, the Utah Jazz, the Houston Texans, the, any of these teams that aren't, New York or LA or something like that. I always thought that they took a little more pride in putting out a very good product on the field or on the court or wherever, arena you choose to play in. And I have to tell you, man, yesterday I was pretty disappointed as a Titans fan because I sat here and I said, here's a team who, after, say, 10 years of pure hot garbageness, okay, have stunk it up for years and years and years. Couldn't get it right at the quarterback position. They finally get a guy who I strongly believe, and not just because I'm a fan, but because I've watched him play. He may not be, let's say, a top 5 quarterback, but I think he has the potential over the course of his career, and I thought it would be this year, to leap into at least the top 10. And he's gotten hurt, and he's been a little injury prone, which is very scary. But when he's on the field, he's been good. He got them 3 wins the first year as a rookie, which we didn't expect much. And then he went to 9 wins. And I thought this year, along with a lot of other people, that this would be the year that they actually took the step forward. And it's not too late, obviously. It's only week 5. They're 2-3. They're a game out of the top spot in their division. So it's not like it's the end of the world. So I don't want to seem like I'm throwing in a towel. But it's really alarming to me that you have to look at their situation, right? They're in a division that is very, very winnable. The best quarterback in the division isn't even playing. The best defense in the division is still trying to work out their quarterback position. And the other team, who we thought would be a mess, who we beat by 30, right now is in the first spot. And what's disappointing to me is I look at their situation, again, the division, the fact that they actually finally have some talent all across the field, maybe not top elite talent, but I think enough to win 9 or 10 games, maybe even a playoff game. And the way the Pats look right now, maybe even 2 playoff games, depending on their draw. And rather than actually secure themselves a win yesterday, if you had anyone who was behind center yesterday who was at least competent to play the quarterback position, Titans would have won that game. They would have gone to 3-2. Mariota would probably be back next week, if not the week after, and they'd be in good shape. And instead of securing that for themselves, they chose to A, put Matt Castle out on the field, and B, sign Brandon Weeden as his backup. And then on the other side of the ball, you had Jay Cutler, who, again, threw for 92 yards with all the weapons that he has. Now, I get it. Their offensive line is atrocious, and he did make a lot of throwaways yesterday that he had no choice because he's getting people in his face the minute the ball is snapped. So I get it. I'm not, it's more than just the quarterback not being good. But the Browns, the Jets, the Dolphins, the Titans, so many teams yesterday put out such a abysmal product on the field that it made me really, really sad, especially to see it from my own team, where I'm like, here's a fan I've been waiting for 10 years or so, roughly, to actually finally at least make the playoffs. They don't even have to, for me as the fan, they don't even have to win a playoff game, but to be around for that extra week at the end of the season to say, hey, one of my team was one of the last few standing, means a lot to me as a fan. And they said, we don't care about the fans. Like, they put that on the field yesterday, and I watched most of the game. I tuned out after the second quarter because I just couldn't bear to watch anymore. I mean, I don't know if any of you are Titans or Dolphins fans or anyone watched the game yesterday, but it was abysmal. I mean, it was one of the worst games I've ever seen played at any level. Like, it was awful. And, it really sucks as a fan of any team to see your team do that. It's like you have the ability to go out and get someone, to get players who will actually put you in a position to win. Now, here's the thing. I'm okay with him not having signed Kaepernick in terms of, well, Mariota might be back next week, and we don't want, you don't want that situation where he's gone for a week and then you bring in Kaepernick and now they're competing for the starting job, possibly. I get that standpoint, but you had the chance to sign him in the offseason as a backup quarterback, and you instead chose to go with Matt Castle. And then you had another opportunity to sign him, but instead of getting him, you decided to sign Brandon Weeden. And as a fan, I have to tell you, like, that is a slap in the face. Titans organization. To all of you, if anyone is listening, of course, I doubt it, but if anyone from the Titans organization happens to hear this, I want you to know that what you did yesterday was a slap in the face to your fans, where you have a chance to go on the road with your starting quarterback, your potential franchise guy out, to go on the road against an AFC team and actually get a win while Mariota was out, keep your position. At minimum, you're tied in the division with Jacksonville. Houston lost, so you had a chance to get a game up on them while your starting quarterback was out, getting some rest, recovering. And you laid a big fat egg. And it could come back to bite them. Now, again, they're 2-3. It's only week 5. They have plenty of time to recover. But who knows? What's to say that it doesn't come down to the end of the year that they're 9-7 and maybe they're playing against, or maybe they're 9-6 with their. I think their last game is against Houston. Let me see. I want to check their schedule because this, as a Titans fan, this is what is frustrating. Let me see if I can find their schedule really quick. What's frustrating is and they did this last year where they were in a position at the end of the year to go to the playoffs. All they had to do was beat the Jags. And instead they laid an egg to the Jags and they finished the season 9-7. Their last game is against the Jaguars at home. So what happens if the Jags actually are for real and they're 9-6 and you're 9-6 and at the end of the year you have to go play them and the winner gets to go to the playoffs because of record? And because you dropped you dropped that game of all the games to drop, you dropped one to the Dolphins, who are atrocious. Yesterday was awful. The quarterback play was terrible. Not a lot of great games. I did watch the Cowboys and the Packers. That was a really good game. Seahawks and the Rams. It was an ugly game, but it was a good game. Other than that, there was a lot of pretty terrible quarterback play yesterday. Ben Roethlisberger threw 5 picks. That's how the Jags won, by the way. It's not like they were a really good team. I don't buy the Jags for a second as a good team. But that's just my personal opinion. We'll see how they, shake up over the rest of the year. But I don't buy them at all. Chargers and the Giants, dear God. The Giants obviously got decimated by injury, but another... Jets, Browns, Chargers, Giants, both ugly games. Ravens and the Raiders. The Raiders are kind of lost right now without Derek Carr. Titans and Dolphins, obviously, that was another one. The Bills and the Bengals, another game that was just like, what? Jags and the Steelers, of course, as I mentioned. And that's the thing. Blake Bortles, they won 30-9. Blake Bortles was like, he was another one that threw for 90 yards. He was 8 of 14 for 95 yards yesterday. I mean, dude. Now, Fournette went off, and I get that. He didn't have to throw it a lot, but still. 95, not even 100 yards, bro. And then the Colts and the 49ers. And here's another thing. Luck does come back at some point. I'm assuming he's going to come back. And guess what their record is? 2-3, right along with the Titans. So what happens if Luck comes back and now all of a sudden all of those teams in the division are now fighting for the winner when the Titans could have separated themselves by not laying an egg against the Texans because that was awful, and then coming out and laying another egg against the Dolphins and putting that mess on the field yesterday with Matt Castle? I'm pretty disappointed as a Titans fan. I was going to do sort of my quarterly recap, I guess, or reset of the season, sort of picking division winners now that we kind of know what the teams are a little bit. But I was so upset yesterday with the Titans organization that I didn't even bother. I'll do that later this week, though. I will. But, man, yesterday it was terrible. And the fact that they actually put that out on the field yesterday, think about all the vets and the people who Delaney Walker, Rashard Matthews, the Jarrell Caseys, the Brian Arakpos, the Derek Morgans, Logan Ryan, Jonathan Cyprian, Denoris Searcy, Eric Decker, DeMarco Murray, all of these players that they've brought over have turned the culture around. And now that they're on the doorstep of being a good team, a playoff team, this is what you present to them. You say, here, go win with Matt Castle. Good job. Very, very good job.